the speaker has really said a lot about me, but hopefully I'll go into a little bit more detail as to what I do. As you know, my name is Belinda. I'm a mum. I'm a PhD student at the University of Melbourne, and I am the founder of Mums of the Hills. We're in the Dandenong Ranges on the land of the Wurundjeri and Woiwurrung people. And, as you know, my story starts with a bit of a thud. I fell off a ladder. At home alone, when we just moved with my two young kids around in a forest. Now, I was unhurt, but I realised really quickly that if I was going to live there, I really needed a community. I was so isolated. But the truth was, I was broke. I had no money to have a coffee catch-up with anyone, even if I did know somebody. So, enter Facebook. It's free. So I took a big breath, hit create, and Mums of the Hills was born. So since then, Mums of the Hills has grown to 5,700 members. We have 57,000 posts, comments, and reactions every 28 days. We cover 5 local government areas. We are recommended by our ministers, by our local council, by psychologists, maternal child health nurses. So we're pretty proud of what we do. But we're a Facebook group. We ask the ordinary questions, albeit with a bit of a Hills twist, like, what's the best dentist and doctors? We know that. How do you get a bat out of your house? What does an angry wombat sound like? What's your bushfire plan? But that's what Facebook does, right? Those groups. We connect, we find information, there's a bit of entertainment as well. But what does make Moths different? Well, our group has created a feeling, a culture where our mums feel safe enough to open up about those really tough conversations. Postnatal depression, family violence, financial struggles. Our culture of empathy and support is something we're so proud of, and we really do share in the responsibility of upholding that culture. In a time when the UN is reporting that 24% of women have reduced their online usage due to abuse online, I'm pretty proud that our group is one of the main reasons our local mums remain online. Okay, so we're a really, really good Facebook group. Still, what's so different? Well, unlike other Facebook groups, we actually do things in the community. We're not just talk, we take action. We act on the needs that arise, and we take our culture with us. And as was mentioned, that has been really tested, particularly since really the end of 2019. We're in the mountains, so Black Summer really did affect us. We had the Black Summer, and then week after week there was news around Australia that one woman was being murdered by their partner or someone they knew. And then COVID. The waves of frustration and heartache and angst, you could feel that coming through the ether. It was so powerful. But you know what? We pulled together. We drew on those resources that we had and we used them in such a creative way. And I think we came out stronger. I don't know any other group, place-based or online, that by the end of 2020 had published their very own book about their experience through COVID lockdown. Now, if I don't know of a better definition of resilience, I don't know what it is. So then, there's always a then. In 2021, in June, our community was severely impacted by a huge storm. 25,000 trees fell in one night, destroying homes, roads, and lives. My family, we didn't think we'd survive, and it is a miracle that nobody died on that night. Power and telecommunications infrastructure, critical during and after a disaster, wiped out pretty early on. It took 21 days for the power to be restored. It took 71 days for the NBN. Now, our group, we just came back together again. We kept on going. And what we did was we acted. And now, as you know, we put on chainsaw workshops. We do first aid courses, disaster insurance. We get to do talks about helping our children and, admittedly, ourselves go through trauma. How do we support people doing that? Now, thanks to Vic Health, we have our own website, which is fantastic. And yes, we are creating our own hub. So we are both online and place-based. We are a hybrid community. Now, if we can get an app, that would be the dream trifecta. So, I've got to give it a go. Shameless, I know. So I see our group as a blueprint for isolated and at-risk communities around Australia. And as a person who is passionate about how our communities prevent, respond to, and prepare for our disasters, I'm pretty excited to be at the forefront of that. So we talk, we do, but Moths also advocates too on those issues that I mentioned previously. And so what I'm most passionate about, and you've been told, is telecommunications. And it's pretty handy because today the UN's theme for International Women's Day is cracking the code, so it's all in my favour. So today we're not just discussing the ordinary extraordinary, but we're also highlighting the importance of breaking down that digital gender gap that keeps so many women offline and away from new opportunities. So just remember, in a Melbourne suburb, it took 50 more days to reconnect telecommunications when it only took a few short weeks for the power. That is something that should concern every single one of us, not just here, but around Australia. And that is a gap that we have to close. It's so important. Imagine choosing between, in the middle of winter, and it snows in the mountain, choosing between buying nutritious food and firewood or buying data. That was the reality of many locals in the Dandenong Ranges, notably single women. So this story and so many like it is why it is so crucial that we make telecommunications legislated as an essential service, just like water or power. Purchasing mobile data ran into the hundreds of dollars for people who tried valiantly to work, study, conduct business and remote school during what was also COVID lockdown. Why? Because unlike power, there is no financial assistance to help people cover the immediate costs of living normally while we're without telecommunications. So we all understand what it feels like when the power comes back on after a blackout. It's fantastic, the relief. But remember, in this day and age, we are not truly out of the dark until we are back in the loop. Our local mums in the Dandenong Ranges are extraordinary. Not only can they simultaneously cook a risotto, but they can also calm a toddler, answer a work email, all in the comfort of their home. And then, if a branch falls down on their driveway, they can grab their chainsaw, sort it out, and go on their merry way. They're resourceful, they are resilient, and they are connected. In the face of climate change, they are exactly who you want in your community. Now, telecommunications has enabled that social capital to grow, but it's done so much more. It's so much more than that. I remember I got a message really late at night, and it was from a member, and she said, "Belinda, can you get this message out? I can hear a woman screaming. I know it's really close. I know it's domestic violence. It's really close, but because of the valleys, the echo, I just can't work out where she is. Can you get this message out, please? Please tell them, if you see this, and if you can leave safely, this is my address. You will be protected here." Without the internet, those screams would have been just lost, floating amongst our forest. You can see why I am so strongly advocating for our community of extraordinary women and why we must make telecommunications legislated like water or power. The internet is not just for entertainment or for work. It connects us women, to other women, to empower, to support, to motivate, and to ultimately to thrive. I want Victoria to lead every state and territory and be the first one to legislate telecommunications as an essential service under the Essential Services Act. If we want mums to upskill, if we want them to study and come in and re-enter the workforce, we need guaranteed service levels for the NBN. We need to enable mums to work at home and break down those biases about our competency and our ability and productivity to work from home. And if we want women to work from home or from work, we need to understand that that doesn't mean working 9 to 5 in a 40-hour plus working week. It doesn't have to be so. We're pretty extraordinary. So 7 years ago, when I fell off that ladder, I had absolutely no idea of the journey I was going on and the extraordinary women that I would meet in my community. At this time, when climate change is an ever-present threat, we need communities to be stronger and more connected than ever before. Moths is an extraordinary example of how a simple community, an ordinary community, can do just that. So let's crack the code. Let's keep us in the loop, and let's recognise women for the extraordinary role that they play in our communities. Thank you.